In March, an investigation by the Irish Times and the Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Project found that Aughinish in County Limerick supplies vast amounts of alumina, a kind of powder, to Russian aluminium smelters in Siberia, which in turn supplies aluminium to a Moscow-based trading company which supplies Russia's military industry. The Ukrainian president in Dublin this month said that Ukrainians were being killed with the help of materials being supplied from the EU. Now, a government review, which hasn't been published, has found no concrete evidence that alumina from Limerick is being used in the war, but also can't rule it out. It was carried out by the Department of Enterprise. Its Minister, Peter Burke, will be with us later. Conor Gallagher is with us in studio now. He's investigations reporter with the Irish Times. Conor, thanks for coming in to us. You were part of that big international investigation into Aughinish in March. What did you make of this investigation in conclusion?
I suppose it's no surprise, the findings. They've been, it's been quite clear for a few weeks now that the government's investigation wasn't going to make any concrete findings, and indeed Micheál Martin in Kyiv yesterday said as much as you said. No evidence found that this material is going into weapons. No evidence that it's not going into weapons. So not surprised. I suppose somewhat surprised that they never approached us for the evidence that we have gathered. Now, I don't think we'd be probably not in a position to hand it over based on source protection, but I did find it somewhat odd we weren't asked. But the government's main problem is that they don't have people on the ground in Russia since the invasion of Ukraine to actually look at internal trade data and to see where this is going, and that is indeed a very tall order, even with the cooperation of Ukraine, which they said they received on this investigation.
So from what you understand, and again, we haven't seen this report, why didn't the government find what you found?
Well, what we had access to is leaked data showing this links from, as you said, Rusal, which owns Aughinish, to these Russian trading company with very close links to Rusal and the Kremlin, and onwards to these dozens of weapons companies supplying the war in Ukraine. And this showed a clear trail of a financial trail of lots of money being paid from one party to another, and further again on up the supply chain. So what we weren't able to find was, and as Minister Burke notes in his statement, direct evidence or direct proof that this particular bit of alumina or batch of alumina is going into weapons. What we were able to do was map out a supply chain, but it seems the government's report wasn't able to map out that supply chain either.
Without seeing the full report, is it possible to determine how hard they looked?
No, it's not. We only have it took long enough. We thought we were getting it after a few weeks, and that kept getting pushed out. It's perhaps noteworthy this very, very brief summary is only released after Micheál Martin finishes his latest meeting with Vladimir Zelensky yesterday in Kyiv. So we don't have a full idea. It's a very short statement by Peter Burke. Perhaps he will elaborate on it later.
We'll be looking in more detail at Oleg Deripaska. Tanya Reut is going to be speaking to us a bit about it later on. The sanctioned Russian oligarch who Sweden say actually owns and controls Aughinish. Did this government investigation look at who owns the company?
Again, so we've no actually evidence that they did. The report doesn't mention that.
Remind us of why that's important.
So this is a connected but separate issue. Oleg Deripaska founded Rusal and its parent company EN+. Back in 2018, America wanted to sanction, and indeed did sanction, Deripaska and his companies EN+, Rusal, and by extension Aughinish, which is fully owned by Rusal. But a deal was worked out following lobbying from the Irish government that if Deripaska reduces his stake in EN+, they wouldn't apply the sanctions to the companies he controls. So the deal was he reduced his stake to about 44%, and sanctions were avoided on Aughinish and jobs were saved. But the Swedish tax authorities, in a determination released just last month, said that actually that was a fiction, that Deripaska continues to exert as much as 70% control of EN+, and by extension all the companies under it, including Aughinish. So that would be in breach of both EU and US sanctions.
So what happens now? This report goes to the European Commission. How will it influence their decision on Aughinish and sanctions on Aughinish?
Yeah, it's hard to say how if it is this is an accurate summary, and if it's saying we can't find evidence that it is going to weapons, and we can't find evidence that it isn't, it won't be a clear-cut decision for the EU. That issue around Deripaska might be a bigger factor. The other issue, though, is the fact that so much alumina is going to Russia, 50% or so of the total produced in
Twice
Limerick.
the amount of it from before the war, isn't
That's
that
right, and this is only increased. Aughinish say that all that alumina is for export from Russia, so it's smelted into aluminium in Russia and then exported. But it is propping up the Russian economy, and aluminium is a fungible product. So even if all of the Aughinish alumina or aluminium is being exported, that still frees up more aluminium for Russia's war effort, is one argument that will be made, I suspect.
What questions do you have for government now after seeing what you've seen?
Yeah, I would like to know what efforts went into the report. They said they received information from Ukraine and Sweden, and also did their own research.
And from Aughinish as well.
And of course from Aughinish, they said they received a lot of information from Aughinish, and a lot of it's commercially sensitive, which is why they say they're not releasing the report in full. And they said they did their own research. I'd like to know the extent of that research. If they can't get trade data from within Russia, was this just a kind of perfunctory exercise? I'm not saying it was, but it'd be great to get some more detail on that. And did it examine the issue of ownership of Rusal and Mr. Deripaska's role?
And we'll speak to Peter Burke later in the programme. Conor Gallagher, investigations reporter with the Irish Times. Thank you very much for coming into us this morning. We started the programme talking to Conor Gallagher, investigations reporter at the Irish Times, who in March, along with the Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, found that Aughinish in County Limerick supplies vast amounts of alumina, a kind of powder, to Russian aluminium smelters in Siberia, which in turn supplies aluminium to a Moscow-based trading company which supplies Russia's military industry. The Ukrainian president in Dublin this month said that Ukrainians were being killed with the help of materials being supplied from the EU. Now, a government review, which hasn't been published, has found no concrete evidence that alumina from Limerick is being used in the war, but also can't rule it out. It was carried out by the Department of Enterprise. Its Minister Peter Burke is with us now. Peter Burke, thank you very much for coming into studio this morning.
Thank you, Gavin.
What did you find?
Well, first of all, the National Competent Authority for Restrictive Measures is a unit in my department which acts independently of me. It conducted a broad-based investigation in relation to the allegations that were raised by the OCCRP, the investigative journalists, and essentially we engaged with a number of European authorities, a number of other countries and jurisdictions, and also critically with the management in Aughinish Alumina to assess whether they have carried out their due diligence in relation to adhering to sanctions which were imposed by the European Commission. And subsequent to that investigation, they found no evidence to suggest that the company has not done its due diligence, or essentially that alumina from Limerick is ending up in the Russian military complex.
OK, as you said, you carried out this review after that report in March that found that there had been a big increase in alumina being sent to Russia since the war started, doubling. And that was being sold to companies making weapons and other material being used in the war to kill Ukrainians. You didn't find out what they found out. Why not?
Well, first of all, in relation to the data that the premise of the investigation was brought forward on, obviously, which is no fault of the journalists, that data was subsequently corrected by the CSO and revenue commissioners as inaccurate data was given by the management in the company in relation to tonnage that was shipped over to Russia. So if we look at the increase from Russia from about 20% before the Ukrainian war, which increased to about 41%, potentially a little less now subsequent to the war.
More than that now, isn't it?
No. At this point in time, it's actually dropped in the months in 2026. It hit 50% in early 2026,
Still
but it
an
hasn't
increase from
reduced
before
since.
the war, doubling.
But there are a number of reasons for that. So if we look at those reasons, in the first instance, a number of smelters have reduced capacity or closed, particularly in Spain and Romania within the EU because of energy charges. Secondly, there was a number of countries that were dealing with Aughinish Alumina, and due to reputational damage, and obviously when the Russian war broke out, they ceased to deal with them. So countries like the Netherlands, like Iceland, like Norway, no longer deal with Aughinish Alumina. So about 27% of their market share was taken away by the war in Ukraine and by those countries deciding independently not to deal with Aughinish. And therefore, obviously, Russia has additional capacity to absorb in connection with it. So there are reasons for some of these events to happen, notwithstanding that our competent
a
authority...
doubling of alumina exports to Russia at a time when their economy is stagnating and they're at war. What do you think they're doing with it?
Well, first of all, as I point out, they have lost market share. So what they're doing with it, what we have seen from...
What do you think Russia's doing with it?
If you let me finish, I will absolutely answer that, Gavin. So we have got assurances from Aughinish Alumina that the alumina which goes into Russia is separated in compartments due to an export taxation relief that the company get. We've got documentary evidence which supports that, and the majority of the alumina is exported as aluminium back out from Russia into other countries, which includes the EU. And secondly to that, some also goes in a smaller proportion, maybe less than 10%, into the civil society, essentially, to underwrite the products that it makes. And this is the key point I'm coming to. That's essentially the documentary evidence that we've received from the company. However, that's coming from a Russian entity. And we're very clear in the department, as you said from the outset in the charge you put, that it's very difficult to ascertain the evidence threshold to say it is not getting into the Russian military complex. But to look at the two charges, as I point out, centrally, charge one is essentially the company saying that this alumina is going into smelters in Russia. It's claiming an export tax credit and it's exported back out, and they are labelled in separate compartments, of which there's about 25 compartments in each smelter. Secondly, of where the investigative journalists have come from, is a 5-step process. So they're saying critically that Aughinish Alumina export its alumina to Rusal, which is obviously a Russian company. Rusal subsequently moved that to 2 smelters in Russia. The 2 smelters in Russia subsequently moved that to OK Rusal, which is another trading company as part of the Rusal group. Subsequently, OK Rusal moved that to ASK, which is essentially a Russian trader, and subsequently to that, ASK send that into Russian military operators. That's the supply chain, which is a 5-step chain that we have tried to get the evidence for that we haven't succeeded on.
You said in a previous interview in this programme that without going into Russia, you were never going to be able to find out what the Irish Times found out. So you can't rule out that alumina for Limerick isn't being used to kill Russians. Yes?
We haven't reached the evidentiary threshold, and suspicion is not evidence. And when you're dealing
you
with,
can't rule it out, though, can you?
When you're dealing with sanctions, you need a legal basis. So essentially, I have to come forward with evidence that reaches a threshold that can stand up in a court of law, and that is a very difficult threshold to meet.
Well, the Taoiseach says that you're going to look at other approaches, quote, to make sure that Limerick Alumina isn't going into Russian arms. What other approaches?
So potentially we can discuss this obviously with the Commission. A report has been furnished to the Commission today. So there is potentially an opportunity to look through an independent company who has global supply chains, who has a century of experiences in verifying logistics and supply chains right throughout the globe, and this company potentially could essentially ascertain the validity of what Aughinish Alumina has said in relation to the exporting of the raw material out of Russia into other countries. Now, that will be a decision for the Commission. They have policy responsibility on that, but it's an option that has been put on the table.
Why won't you publish your findings?
Because I have clear advice from the Constitutional Law Officer of the Government, which is the Attorney General, that the report will not be published for a number of reasons.
Did you look for advice to see if you could publish it?
Absolutely, for a number of reasons. If you let me finish, please. First of all, we have had a significant amount of data shared from other European countries confidentially and from different authorities. We also have very confidential data from Aughinish Alumina, which is sensitive to their commercial activity. We also have security concerns that were raised by the Attorney General. And in line with all other reports or reviews that are carried out by either under the control of exports legislation or under examination of sanctions, none of those are published.
Did you investigate if Aughinish is owned or controlled by Oleg Deripaska, who is subject to sanctions?
No. So the clear prism of my investigation was to, or our department's investigation was to ascertain if alumina was getting into the Russian military complex. It was not in connection with ownership. Obviously, OFAC in the US has conducted an investigation, as well as the UK authorities, and obviously of late Sweden has produced a taxation judgment which suggests that there may be, or as it looks like, that Oleg Deripaska may control more than 50% of EN+. The members in OFEC, as far as I understand, and the UK authorities and the European Commission have not agreed with that finding as yet. Now, that's tentative. That's as far as I understand from our engagement with those authorities right now. But that would be up to the Commission essentially to investigate that. No.
OK. This report goes to the European Commission now. Will you be asking them not to sanction Aughinish?
Absolutely not. And we've had 21 packages so far in relation to sanctions on Ukraine. The Irish government has never lobbied on behalf of Aughinish Alumina, and which was suggested in some quarters. And when the 16th sanction package came forward back in February 2025, aluminium was sanctioned at that particular point in time. And Ireland at no stage stood in the way. And as you saw with the Taoiseach in Ukraine yesterday, we are exceptionally strong supporters of Ukraine, put a very strong package on the table, over 600 million euro. Over 2 billion in additional supports to Ukrainian citizens when you add up all the additional security we've given over the last number of years.
So you won't engage with the EU Commission on this at all?
In what regard?
On sanctions on Aughinish?
Oh, absolutely, we engage with the Commission. No, the critical thing is we always engage. We hand over our report, but essentially
what
the
determination
is made by the Commission. We won't be advocating if evidence is put on the table. So we have a journey to go here. So we really want to tease this out properly rather than on a soundbite approach. What we want to do is, first of all, the European Commission will have to review our report. They will have to decide, do they want to engage potentially an independent entity? What evidence can they, who have a stronger resource base than us, gather in relation to the risk that alumina could be getting into the Russian military complex? Absolutely. Because as a country and as a government, if you look at Ireland as a country, we are consistently in the top 10 in rule of law adherence right throughout the 142 countries measured. We're a country that really holds our values very dear to us, and we would not tolerate in any shape or form evidence and proof, not suspicion, not hearsay, but evidence and proof if it was furnished that there was product getting into the Russian military complex and ultimately killing Ukrainian people. And that is a very emotional issue for Irish people, and it is one which we have to really take seriously, and I have been doing as a minister.
It's very emotional for Ukrainians too, and we spoke on the programme to a Ukrainian MP who suggested some form of EU-backed external ownership of the plant. Would you favour that?
Well, first of all, it's very difficult under our own constitution to see how that would be delivered upon. There are a few issues you have to look at in that regard. First of all, reaching the threshold under the constitution in relation to proportionality. Secondly, it would be fought hard by the Russian-owned entity in Aughinish Alumina, and the complexities of the refining of alumina is that essentially if the plant were stood down, it's not that easy to restart it again. So it would be a very difficult journey to do that. It's not one ultimately where I would see success in. And critically, the value of alumina is in the smelting to aluminium. So essentially Russia is subventing Aughinish Alumina right now because of gas prices and energy increases in the production of aluminium. So that value chain, it's about 5x, about 360% of an uplift in gross value as alumina goes to aluminium.
Peter Burke, Minister at the Department of Enterprise, thank you very much for coming into our studio this morning.